Hi, everybody. Our new guidance counselor, Miss Pentler, recommended this book to me, and I read it earlier today and thought, wow, I love this book. It's so much fun. I need to do a read aloud on it. This book is called Hooray for Wodney Wat. And Wodney the Wat has some speech issues. He needs to go to speech therapy. He can't say his R sounds. And this book does have some bullying in it. Some friends at school are not very nice to Wodney the Wat. So we're going to read it and find out what happens at school. Poor Wodney. Wodney Wat. His real name is Rodney Rat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. To make matters worse, he was a rodent. A wodent. What's your name, Wodney? Asked the other rodents. Wodney Wat, whispered Wodney. What's another name for bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. And how does a train travel? They winked at each other. A twain twavels on twain twacks. Wodney replied miserably. Oh, that's not very nice of all the other school people to be making fun of him. All of this teasing day in and day out made Wodney the shyest rodent in his elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class. He gnawed lunch alone. And while other rodents scurried and scooted about at recess, Wodney hid inside his jacket. That makes me so sad for Wodney. Then one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Camilla Capybara. I'm bigger than any of you, I'm meaner than any of you, and I'm smarter than any of you." Then she added, "So there." With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear, bumped two noses, stepped on three tails, and lay down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear through the classroom. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. Was she smarter than any of them? "What's 2 plus 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth. "4, shouted Camilla Capybara without even bothering to raise her paw. "And furthermore, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, "What's the capital of?" Camilla interrupted, "New York. Albany, population 295,594. And during science, in answer to the question, "What part of the plant is below the ground?" Camilla Capybara danced on her desk and sang, "Root, root, rooty toot toot." Yup, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than we are too. They felt very, very uncomfortable. Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game, Simon Says. She scrunched her eyes closed and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Minnie Feet Mouse, Grizzlefizz Guinea Pig? Could it be big, mean, smart Camilla Capybara? Miss Fuzzleworth's paw reached in and pulled out the name of Wodney Wat. The bell rang. There was a wild scurry for the door, and Camilla Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled the others in her path. Uh-oh. Wonder what's going to happen at recess. To Wodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do when she heard him speak? Breathe capybara breath in his face, or tie him up in his own tail, or even pounce on him? The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players, his head well inside of his jacket, and squeaked, "Wodney says, weed the sign," while the other rodents read, "P.S. 142 Elementary School for Rodents." Camilla began pulling up weeds around the sign, wildly flinging things hither and yon till she was clear up to teeth in dirt. The other rodents began to smile. Why do you think they're smiling? They knew to read the sign. But Wodney Wat said, "Weed the sign," because he can't pronounce his W, so it meant something else. Weed. So she thought it meant go with the weeds. Wodney says, "Wrap your paws around your head." He peeked a little peek out of his jacket and said, "Whap, whap, whappity, slappity, whap." Camilla was wrapping her paws around her head so hard that she became dizzy and gave herself a headache and had to sit down. The other rodents couldn't help but giggle. He wanted them to wrap their paws around their head. Wodney says, "Play wing around the wosy." Camilla pulled out her arms like wings and made an airplane noise. No. But where was the wosy? What was a wosy? By now, Wodney's voice grew stronger and his head was entirely out of his jacket. "Wake the leaves." Nobody moved. "Wodney says, wake the weaves." While Harry, Minifeet, and Grizzlefrizz and the others busied themselves raking, Camilla Capybara grabbed one leaf. "Wake up," she yelled. He did say to wake the leaves. She's yelling at those leaves. She snatched another, "Come on, you, up, up, up." And another, "Rise and shine." And another, "Boo." By now, all the other rodents were squealing with laughter. All but Camilla, who frowned. "Stupid leaves, they won't wake up." And why was everyone laughing at her? Such bullies. They're not a very nice class, are they? In a voice so strong he had to hold his own ears, Wodney called, "Wodney says go west." The rodents collapsed in a happy heap for a rest. Go west. Camilla Capybara, feeling very smart that she could tell directions by the sun, said, "All right, I shall go west." And then she added, "So there." West she stomped. Forever. She was gone. And from that day on, the pupils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney again. He was their hero. "Hooray for Wodney Wat," they cried. "Woot, woot, wooty toot toot." The end. I don't like how much they were bullied in that story, do you? I do like, though, how the friends knew what he meant, and that really showed us how our sounds can really change the meaning of a word. He wanted them to go rest, and they knew what he was talking about, but Camilla did not know. She thought he meant go west, since he can't say his W, since he can't say his R sounds. So that was a good book to show us what saying our sounds correctly can help us do. I hope you enjoyed that fun book. I will see you all next time.